This video is pop art inspired, and today we're going to be playing with the filter gallery and learning how to create shape within this tutorial. So we're going to get started. Your end product is going to look like what you see on the screen here, but we're going to start this from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up and I'm going to create a new file. Go to File, New. Okay, and we're just going to do the standard letter size paper, 8.5 by 11 inches, and click Create. And the first thing that I want to do is create some guidelines so that my rectangles, when I go to place my rectangles, they're very precise. So we're going to go up under View, and we're going to go to New Guide. Okay, so we're going to be having 9 squares in total, so we're going to have to do a little bit of math. I'm going to do my vertical guides first. So what we need to calculate is how many times will 3 go into 8.5. So 8.5 being, here's your 0 mark, here's your 8.5 mark. So I'm just going to, on my calculator, I'm going to type in 8.5 divided by 3 equals, and I come up with 2.8. So my first guide is going to be 2.8 inches. 2.8. Enter. Okay, so here I've got my first guide. That's what it looks like. I need another one. So I'm just going to multiply 2.8 times 2. And so my next guide needs to be at 5.7. So I'm going to go back under View, New Guide. Okay, this time I'm going to type in 5.7, enter. Okay, so now I've got 2 guides, and now I need to put in my horizontal guides. So we've got 11 inches in total for our height. Here's our 0 mark. Here's our 11 mark. We're going to go into View, New Guide, and 11 divided by 3 is 3.67. So we're going to type in 3.7, and I forgot to turn it over to horizontal, so make sure you're clicking on horizontal. Click OK, and I'm going to multiply 3.7 times 2, and that gives us 7.3. So my last guide is going to be 7.3. So New Guide, 7.3. Okay, so I've got 9 squares of equal size on my canvas, and I'm just going to go and lock those guides into place. So I'm going to go back into View, Lock Guides. Okay, so now I'm ready to go get the image that I'm going to be applying the filters to. So I've got it saved to my desktop, so I'm just going to go to File, Open. Okay, and I'm going to use the apple for this demonstration. I'm going to click Open, and here it is. You'll notice I'm using a stock image. I just want to remove the apple from the background, so we've got a variety of different selection tools that we can use. For this one, I'm going to click on the the quick selection tool, and I'm just going to click Select Subject. So that's going to isolate the subject from the background. Okay, here it is, and then I'm going to use the Move tool to move it over into my new canvas, and it came in a little bit too big, so I'm just going to resize it. You can go up to Edit, Transform, Scale, or Command T will work as well. So Command T, and I'm just going to resize my apple a little bit so that it fits more center within the square. And then once I'm happy with how it looks, I'm just going to accept the change over here. Okay, so now I need to have 9 apples. So I'm still on the Move tool, and I need to start selecting this around. The easiest thing that you can do is hold down your Option key. Notice that I'm hovering over the apple, and when you hit the Option key, the cursor changes. So that's your copy. So I'm going to hold the Option key down, and I'm going to start moving my apple. So see how it's already created a duplicate? Now if I hold down the Shift key, it's going to keep my apple in line with the other one. Okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to hold down the Option key and the Shift key, and I'm going to copy it over again. Okay, and as I'm doing this, you'll see that I'm gaining layers over in the Layers palette. Now I need to copy these apples down here as well. So I'm just going to highlight those layers by selecting them like that. You can see over here in the layers palette they're selected. And again, I'm going to hold down that option key with the shift key. Oh, let's try that again. I'm going to copy those, take this down. See how all three of them are going? This is a really quick way of copying things. Okay, and I'm going to place those, and I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to hold down the option key and the shift key. No, didn't want to work for me again. Let's try that again. Option key and shift, and that keeps everything in line like so. As you can see, this tutorial is moving along quite quickly. So the next step from here is you could go into the filter gallery if you wish. So if you click on your first apple there, you go to filter, filter gallery. Okay, you guys have been in here before. Lots of different filters to choose from. I'm going to choose the stained glass one. It looks pretty neat, and I'm going to click OK. Okay, so now I've gone and applied a filter. So you're going to apply different filters to each one of your images in these 9 squares. I'm going to go back into filter gallery, patchwork, so on and so forth. So you guys are going to go in and apply different filter effects to each of your images. And then the last step to this is that we need to create our squares because this is pop art inspired. So we want to have sort of like a color blocking technique. So the next step is we're going to draw rectangles. So in your toolbar over here, you're going to see rectangle tool. We're going to choose that. And up here, you can come up here, you can pick whatever color you want. I would turn your stroke off. So chances are if you're just using the rectangle tool for the first time, you might have a solid color. This means no color. So this is what you should be choosing for your stroke. You do not want a stroke. Okay, and then I'm going to go up to View, and where it says Snap To, you want to make sure that you have a little check mark beside the word guides. And then when you're putting your squares in, it's going to snap to the guidelines. So if I just go like that, you can see here, it's kind of like a magnet. It wants to touch the guideline. So there is my rectangle. And of course, because of where it is in the layers palette, it's currently appearing in front of my apple. I need to drag that down to the bottom so that it appears behind. And now with that same technique that you did to copy your images around, you're going to copy the rectangles around. So I'm going to hold that option key down and the shift key, and I'm just going to copy it over like so. Okay, and I'm going to do it again as well, like that. Okay, I can see here that that one rectangle is just a little bit off, so I'm going to go Command T, and I'm going to hold my shift key down, and I'm just going to make that ever so slightly bigger to fit that rectangle. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to copy those rectangles the same way I did for the others. So I'm going to highlight them. I'm going to hold the option key down and the shift. Oh, still wants to do that to me. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to copy them down. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to colorize those squares to be different colors. So I'm going to highlight those. Oh, did it again. Option key. Hold the shift key down. Like so. Okay, I'm going to have to do a little resizing. My rectangles are slightly off. Okay, I'm just gonna move those down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so then the last step is we're gonna go back in and we're going to colorize the different squares. So I'm just gonna click the square and I'm gonna open up my properties panel so that I can do this quickly. So at the properties panel, you're gonna find under window, properties, and you get this little thing. It just moves it along a little bit faster. So you're going to pick your different colors. I'm going to come over here, do yellow, over here. Let's do blue. Okay, and you can see here as things are changing color, things are not lining up exactly how I want it, so I'm going to have to go in and change it up a little bit. I do not want any unevenness among my squares. Trying to go with all different colors here. There's lots of colors to choose from. What color here? That. And last color, we'll go with maybe a red color. Okay, so I've got all of my different colors here, and I'm just going to fix this because I don't like how this is appearing. My squares need to be in line with the grid, so I'm just gonna even this up a little bit. So I'm gonna go click on the rectangle, Command T, and I'm just going to resize this a little bit. Okay, and you've got your snap turned on. Okay, so it should line up pretty good. Nope. Okay, and I'm just going along and selecting each different one. You can see as I'm selecting, you'll see over here every time it's a different layer that I'm editing, like so. And this, we don't want that white gap. Command T. Okay, so it looks like everything's lining up there pretty good now. Of course, you guys are going to continue on to make sure that you're putting the different filters on each of the apples. That's the objective here. And the last thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to go clear my guides. So I'm going to go to, or actually I'll just hide my guides. I'm going to go to Show, and I'm going to turn my guides off. Okay, so now you guys can see the full effect of this pop art technique, and then when you're done, you're just going to go to File, Save As, and we're going to save it as a JPEG. So I'm going to call this Pop Art, okay, and down under Format, I'm going to choose JPEG. I'm going to save it to my desktop, click Save, click OK, and here's the final results, and it is now saved to my desktop. Okay, so save this to Edsby when you're done. Thanks.